Hello everybody, my name is Smiles, aka 5 Miles, and I'm here to introduce you to my Steam controller configuration for Bless Online. Let me start off by saying that this is strictly just based off of videos that we've seen. I haven't actually been able to play with this in the Steam release version yet, but I'm pretty confident between the similarities with the Japanese server and from what I've seen on the videos from YouTube and the emissaries that were able to play the Steam version, that I have all of the most important things down here already. We'll start off by going top down, left to right. So we'll start off with our left trigger. So with our left trigger, pretty basic, full pull. If you pull it all the way down, you get the escape button, and if you softly pull it and leave it for about half a second to a second, it'll act as your cursor mode, which is the left alt key by default. Also, let me also say that this is, of course, based off of all the default keybinds. This is my basic version that should work straight out of the box, basically. If you have a Steam controller and fire it up, it should work straight away without you having to adjust any keybinds or anything like that. Okay, so escape, but the escape button acts as a couple different things. If you don't have any windows already open on the screen, it'll bring up your system menu here, which will give you access to basically everything there is to access in the game. And then, of course, if you do have Windows open and you hit the escape button, it'll close your windows. Okay, and then the soft pull is this right here, basically. It just pulls out your cursor. You mostly we're probably going to use this for clicking on auto path, stuff like this. And that's pretty much it, basically. Everything else I have a hotkey for. So you really shouldn't be needing the cursor that much. Okay, moving on. We'll go to the right trigger. So right trigger is your mouse. Fully pull it for your left click. Softly pull it for your... This is the only ability that's going to be on your triggers, is the mount ability C by default. And that's pretty much self-explanatory. We don't really need to go into the game to explain that at all. Same with jump here as your right bumper, space. Now this one's actually very, very important for using a controller. So this is your middle mouse button by default. It makes you do a 180-degree turn. And since you most likely want to be playing with very, very low sensitivity on your mouse, this will be very important, as you won't be able to whip your mouse around and do 180s very quickly, at least not on controller. And I can just go ahead and demonstrate that real quick. So jump here, 180 there, aggro. I guess we'll demonstrate a little bit of combat real quick here too. Hopefully don't die. How the hell did that come up? Alright, there we go. Probably end up editing that out, but I might just leave it for the hell of it. Okay. So yeah. Right bumper is your jump, left bumper, quick 180-degree turn like that. Moving on. Okay, so actually we'll go in the middle first. Start button is your auto run. By default, that is the V hotkey. And select button actually has two different bindings. If you push it quickly, It'll be your number 2 consumable slot, which is by default F2. And if you hold long press it, then it'll be your number 3 consumable slot, which is by default F3. Okay, now to the more complicated things here. First of all, we'll go with the right pad, which is your mouse. Basically, that's how you do all your mouse cursor movements. This is probably the one thing that you'll need to adjust based on your own preferences. Me, I prefer pretty low sensitivity, and I think for playing this game, it's probably wise to use a lower sensitivity, but that also depends on which zoom level you're comfortable at. If you like to play zoomed in a lot, low sensitivity is a must. If you play zoomed out, then you might want a little bit of higher sensitivity. And yeah, you can. I would actually say leave this here at 0.032 and go in the game and adjust your sensitivity from there if you want to adjust your sensitivity. Let me go ahead and show you where that is in case you don't know. There's actually, at least in this version of the game, there's 2 different places where you can adjust the sensitivity, which is kind of strange. But you get your camera rotation here. You lower that to lower your camera rotation sensitivity, but also, I believe it's under controls, aim sensitivity, which they basically do the exact same thing. Camera rotation and aim sensitivity, as far as I can tell, both do the exact same thing and both lower your sensitivity while you're moving around. And this also, I would suggest moving way down. I think this is 10 by default. This is like your mouse cursor when you're navigating through menus and stuff. 10 is definitely way too fast for using this trackball version of the mouse. And if you are new to Steam Controller, I think most everybody uses the trackball. If you've never used a trackball mouse before, how that works basically is that if you swipe across the mouse pad, it kind of continues moving for a little bit depending on how fast or how little you swipe. It takes some getting used to, but I think it works really well for this game. A few other things about the mouse. See, I have the haptics intensity turned off, but what that does is kind of like gives you a sound feedback of how fast the mouse is moving. It can be useful, but it can also be really annoying, even on low. I find it to be very loud. Let me hold the controller up to the... It's not that loud, but I think I find it to be loud. I'm not sure if you can hear it or not, but I find it to be kind of annoying, so I keep it off. And that's just a preference thing as well, that you may or may not want to turn back on, but I'm going to keep it off by default. What else do we have for mouse? And I wouldn't mess with any of these things. Acceleration on medium, trackball friction on low. I've done a lot of testing to get those to where they are right now. And friction vertical scale. This, I guess you may want to adjust a little bit. Basically how this works is when you're rolling the mouse, it makes the horizontal sensitivity higher than the vertical sensitivity, the higher you go. So our horizontal sensitivity will move faster from left to right, but from up and down, it won't move as much. So you won't be in a combat situation if you're trying to quickly move from left to right and you're going up and down a little bit too. You're not going to be ending up looking at your feet or looking straight up into the air. unintentionally, at least not very often, as long as your friction vertical scale is high. Okay. And yeah, that's it about how the mouse works exactly right now. Actually, I'll go into this right now. There's also a different mode. If you hold in the joystick button, that will activate scroll wheel mode, which will give you access to your zoom function in the game. So, for example, our normal mouse function is this, moving left to right, or aiming left to right, as you can see here now. And when you click in your joystick button and then swipe from up and down on the left and right mouse pad, that will cause you to zoom in and out. It's pretty simple there. Okay. And then the last thing about the mouse pad here is that it is also, if you push in the right mouse pad, it is your first consumable slot, which is by default the F1 key, which is where you probably will have your health potions. I think it's probably the best way to bind your health potion. Easy to find. If you're in a pinch, just push in your mouse pad, the right trackpad, and you're good to go. Now, left trackpad, which is also quite a bit, has quite a bit bound to it. Actually, a lot bound to it. Okay, this is a touch menu. So by default, this is going to be your 4 through 7 hotkeys, which are the only hotkeys that you're allowed to have that are not bound to combos in the Steam version. So basically, you have your you get like 4 longish cooldown hotkeys that you're able to select, and those will be your 4 hotkeys that you activate with the trackpad. Now, how that is done is when you put your finger on the trackpad, you get this little touch menu. You got 4, 5, 6, 7. This is what I prefer: 4 bottom left, 5 bottom right, 6, 7, like so, like you can see it. You don't have to push in the trackpad. You just have to touch it. So if you touch the trackpad and release, it's a really quick way to use your hotkeys. So for example, you might not even see this flash on the screen. I'm going to hit my number 7 hotkey, which is my AoE hotkey. That quick. And then I'll come up here, hit my number 4. Oh, this is a pretty long range spell. Number 4, number 5. Just finish this guy off real quick. So, left trackpad is basically, for combat purposes, those are going to be all your long cooldowns. And you're going to be pushing on the corners. So you're going to push in bottom left, just how it looks like on the screen. Bottom left for number 4, bottom right for number 5, top left number 6, top right number 7. Okay, the next function of the left trackpad is when you're holding down the right trigger. Now, and you don't really need this. This is something like, I guess more of an advanced thing if you're really interested in doing it. You can hold down the right trigger, and then once you touch your left pad, this opens up your hotkeys for basically all your different menu items, your inventory, your map, your pets, your skills. This G key, which is very important and very useful, which is by default. Basically, if you have a quest where you have to use an item, you're going to be using it. The G key is the default hotkey to use that item, that special quest item that will show up next to your quest log on the right there. Usually shows up it'll be like right here to the left of your quest log. So that G key you'll be using a lot. But again, like I said, that's completely optional. You can also easily just hit your escape button and get access to all your system menu and all your inventory and all that other stuff right here, if you prefer that way. Okay, so that's it for the left pad. Let me repeat that again real quick, just and show you in the menu how that works. So right trigger full pull opens up a second touch menu where you have all these hotkeys which you can change yourself if you like. I for inventory, map, minimap, pets, the G key for the quest items, skill menu, F4 through 8, and then all your mount and pet hotkeys. Okay. Now, for these little hidden buttons, which are in the back, I wish you could turn this around somehow, but yeah, you can't. So anyway, left grip, which they call it, the left grip, which is the button behind the left side of your pad, obviously. By default, is going to be your interact/loot hotkey. So you're going to be using this to talk to NPCs, move along the dialogue quickly, and also loot. And that's pretty much it. It also acts as a modifier. This is very important to switch to your second, your combo extender buttons. And we'll get back to that once we get to our buttons in a little bit. So for now, basically using your left grip button is your interact/loot key, and we'll remind you later on how that works with when you hold down the left grip button. It switches up your A, B, X, Y hotkeys to your combo extenders, which are by default R, T, and Y. We will revisit that in a moment. Let's go first to the right grip, which is by default the tilde or accent key, which is the button to the left of your number 1 key on your keyboard. So this by default will be your stance switch key. So you'll be, if you're in the middle of a combo and you want to switch your stance up, or I guess at any moment really, you just hit your right trigger, or not your right trigger, your right grip, I'm sorry. And then it also acts as a modifier when you're holding, and this one's pretty simple, when you're holding the right grip, it will change your left mouse from left click to right click. So you hold down your right grip key, or your right grip button. It's not even really a button. I'm not sure what lever. It's more like a lever. Your right grip lever in the back of your controller, and then you can right click with your right trigger, basically. And we will repeat that stuff at the end here. We have I have a little bit of a helper here, just for that more complicated stuff to help at the end. So moving on, I think all we have left now are our buttons. We'll start with the left joystick, which is, there's really nothing complicated to it. Just moves you around, WASD. Basically, simply how it looks. Forward is forward, left is strafe left, right is strafe right, S, and holding down is back pedal, which is relatively slow. Like most MMOs, you don't really want to backpedal unless you really have to. You mostly want to strafe in a backwards direction if possible. Anyway, and now your A, B, X, Y buttons. I found this to be the best way to line this up, with one 2, 3. So X is 1, Y is 2, B is 3. A is your, by default, left shift defensive button. And yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory there. And then, like we were talking, now we'll go into the repeating what we just talked about with the modifiers. So, with our buttons here, so by default we got X is 1, Y is 2, B is 3, and A is defensive, your left shift button. I think for some classes it also is a roll. And there's a roll ability that unlocks. So if you use your A or left shift button, it will also be your roll. Okay, so, and when we hold in our left grip, then this changes to R, T, and Y. So you start your combos with 1, 2, or 3, X, Y, or B, and then your combo gauge will pop up and will give you the options of R, T, or Y. So in order to extend your combos, you're going to hold in the left grip behind the left side of your controller and hit X for R, Y for T, or B for Y. I guess I could have made that better, but no, I think it's better this way, knowing from left to right, or I believe in the game it's from top to bottom, RTY. So, RTY. I think it's easier to remember that way, but feel free to change it if you want to. And again, even with the left grip held, your A button will remain your defensive left shift key. So that one does not change. It's just your 1, 2, 3, BXY, RTY. I know this is a lot to take in. It's a lot of this stuff is mostly just you're just gonna have to play with the controller and learn it. It feels really good once you get your hands on it and get to play with it a little bit. Trust me. Okay, we'll move on to right grip held, which I mentioned before, turns your right trigger from left mouse to right mouse. So default, left mouse, right grip held, right mouse. Show that again for the buttons here too. Default, 1, 2, 3 left shift, left grip held, RTY left shift. Okay. And let's go now to right trigger held. And this also has a little bit of something special for our healers out there. Okay, so basically, for right trigger held, you get access to that touch menu that I talked about before. When you're holding the right trigger, you're using the left touchpad. It will give you access to that all these hotkeys for your menus, inventory, your mount hotkeys, and your F through F8 consumable hotkeys. Now, for our healer friends, when you're holding down the right trigger, it actually will change your joystick from moving you around to choosing and targeting party members. And how that works, I will demonstrate that real quickly. So here I am moving around, and I've push in the right trigger. So now we have top is target yourself. Party member 1 goes clockwise. Party member 1 at your 2 o'clock position. Party member 2, 5 o'clock. Party member 3, 7. Party member 4, 10. And then back to self at the top position. There does seem to be some overlap with, as you can see, and I'm going to have to work on this a little bit more. It does seem if you do use these, you see that, like, it will actually trigger your F1 through F4 consumable hotkeys as well. So I'm going to have to play with that a little bit. Maybe once you're in a party, it won't actually do that, I'm hoping. But yeah, I'm gonna have to actually give that some real testing in-game in a party to actually figure out why that is. But for now, that's basically the only thing I can offer to our healers as a way to quickly target their party members. And I'm not even sure if that's absolutely necessary or not in the new version of the game. It seems like, at least from the videos that I've seen, that paladins are able to most easily heal people by just pointing and clicking at them and, you know, pushing the whatever heal hotkey they need to push. So we'll see if that's even actually required in the Steam version of the game. Can't be sure about that, but if it is required, there it is. Hold your right trigger in and move around your left joystick to to target your party members. I don't know why. I don't know why it also triggers the hotkeys, but we'll see what we can do about that later on. And I think last but not least is our, you know, joystick pushed in, which I explained earlier. You push in your left joystick, and your right pad acts as a scroll wheel for zooming in and out, and also you can use it to scroll through like menus as far as like for example, crafting. Scroll through your crafting window, scroll through your inventory, that kind of thing too. Just push in your joystick and scroll up and down, swipe up and down. Alright, I think we covered everything. Is there anything I forgot here? Let me look this over real quick. Go through it real quick. Right, go to the default. So, left trigger, escape. Hold it down slightly. And also let me mention this. When you hold, when you hold down, I have the hipfire exclusive option here. And here, let me actually show you what that actually means. So, say you're like, oh, that sounds annoying that you have to like only hold the trigger halfway in and keep it that way for cursor mode. But no, it doesn't actually work that way. How it works is if you trigger cursor mode and you soft pull it after about half a second, it will not trigger your full pull anymore. So you can actually pull it all the way down and it will stay in cursor mode, and it will not trigger the escape button. So as you can see here, a hipfire exclusive, intended to be used with a dual stage trigger setup, blah blah blah. A slower pull or hover will engage the threshold action with exclusive hipfire. If the soft pull action is engaged, the full pull option will no longer function. So in exclusive mode, you can activate either the full or soft pull, but not both. So that goes both ways. If you fully pull it and hit escape, it won't accidentally put you in cursor mode as you're releasing the button. And okay, moving on. Full pull for left mouse and soft pull for your mount ability. Pretty much the same thing. Works the same way. 180 turn for your left bumper. Jump for your right bumper. Loot, interact, talk to NPCs with your left grip. Stance switch with your right grip. Both have modifiers when you're holding them. Hold right grip to turn your left click to right click. Hold your left grip to turn your combo starters into your combo extenders. Select button. Click for your number 2. Long press for number 3 consumable. Start button. Auto run. Mouse is your right pad. Left pad is your 4 through 7 hotkeys for your long cooldowns. And then you have your movement with your left stick, and your combo starters and extenders, and your defensive ability with your A, B, X, Y buttons. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I will be posting in the comment or in the info section below the video a link to this configuration. I hope you enjoy it. I honestly haven't given it I've given it maybe like 2 hours of playtime. I'm still not completely used to it myself, but I think even for just 2 hours of playtime, I'm feeling pretty confident and comfortable with it. And I think it's a very legit and viable way to play Bless Online. And this is just the Japanese version. I think it'll be even better and more smooth in our Steam release version of Bless Online. So, this video was already 30 minutes long. I was hoping for something like 10 minutes. I didn't realize how long it would take to explain all the things, but if anything's not clear, go ahead and leave a comment in the video. If you have any suggestions on anything that you think would be more efficient in some way, go ahead and also let me know in the comments. I'm mostly a live streamer, so this video will probably either not be edited at all or edited in a very terrible manner. I suggest you come check out my stream at twitch.tv/5miles. And I hope you guys are excited for some Bless Online. If you own a Steam controller, I definitely, even if you are a mainly mouse and keyboard person, I definitely say I'm mainly a mouse and keyboard person myself. But sometimes I want to relax when I'm just running around questing. Give my mouse twitch arm a little bit of a break and chill with the controller for a bit. So, give the configuration a shot, and I hope you like it. Thank you guys, and see you on Bless. Peace out. GG's. Oh yeah, sorry, that was just a habit. I know this isn't a live stream. See you, YouTube.